Hi YouTubers, welcome back. It's Tuesday, September 25th. Yeah, today's 25th. I keep forgetting to change my calendar over. It still says August. A couple of random things. I found some interior screws from one of our Fords that we tore apart a long time ago, and they actually fit the speed clips in here. So now this panel here is fastened and all not flopping around anymore. And on the last video we got it running. We had to put a new starter Bendix in it because the old drive kept killing starter gears. Also had to put a new ignition switch in, and the other one was being a bit flaky. I still have to replace the fuse holder in here, but I'm going to order one to throw in there, and I'm going to get one that's more sealed up so it's not prone to getting moisture in it and causing future electrical problems. Because the main fuse in there is what runs, it gives power to your switch here to turn everything on. And then the other thing that we found out is that we were having problems with this blade handle staying down, and you probably can't see it from there, but there's a lot of wear in this metal tab here. So when I get some wire from my welder, we're probably going to come in and just fill that in, shape it, and repaint it. So I think that's what will happen. Let's see. My temporary fix for that, to keep at least keep this up, is I took this tab and bent it straight up so it catches pretty good. So I'm going to leave this like that, but still fix the tab on here. Thought about actually just grinding this metal thing off and then welding a new piece of metal there, and maybe something thicker. It's really what causes that wear is it's from you need to pull back on it and then move it out, so you're not letting it constantly rub on the selector here. So that's a thing we'll worry about later. For right now, I'm not too worried about it. The one thing that I do want to get working is the brakes. They do not work, and it's because the pins that jam the brake material in there are locked up. So I want to get this wheel off and see if we can get in there and maybe free them up. Is that missing a bolt? Oh, tubes. Tubes. And not it broke off. Oh, it's missing the bolt. So hopefully we get the other one out. We can get a matching bolt for it. There's a lot of dirt in here. Okay, I thought we had a broken bolt here. So that's already taken off. Might have to get my steering wheel puller in here and take it off. Where's my floor jack? Well, I need to get my steering wheel puller, but unfortunately, in the back of my truck, there's a bunch of garbage and scrap metal and stuff. Been cleaning up around here and getting rid of stuff that needs to be tossed. And it just so happens my steering wheel puller is in my toolbox, and my toolbox has a lid on it, and I just can't get to it. So gotta wait on that. We're gonna come back to this later. Brakes is not really a big thing for this. I would like for it to work because the parking brake kind of keeps us from moving when the engine's, when you're trying to start the engine. And this is a little This up here is a little sloppy, so you kind of have to find the right spot to get her neutral. So, big deal, right? Anyways, I want to go ahead and move on to the next thing. And I think what we'll like to do is get this turned around, and we're going to go ahead and start pulling the engine kind of apart, and I'm going to get the carburetor off, and possibly also look at some wiring. The alternator does not charge, and consequently does not run the headlights, which aren't hooked up, but the power leads don't register any power when you turn the headlight switch on. I think it might just be a bad switch, so maybe we'll probe for power on that later. But let's get her flipped around and work on something else. We'll come back to this later. For right now, this wheel ain't coming off. We just need a bolt for that shaft there, but when we get a steering wheel puller on this and try and yank her off that way, I think that'll work, because there's two holes here, and then you can put a puller right in the center there and yard her off. I think that's what we'll do. So we'll save that for another adventure, but for now, let's see if I can get it fired up and turned around here. I'm going to shut the garage a little bit so we keep the noise level down. Got some airflow though. Because, you know, as soon as I start the camera, an annoying ass motorcycle or a power truck comes flying down the road. Put the part number for this engine in at Jack's Small Engine and got some references to parts that I need just to make sure I get the right kit for this carburetor. I was kind of hoping he'd take PayPal. The company would take PayPal, but I ended up using them for parts references. So, anyways, I've ordered from them before, and they've come through with pretty decent replacement parts. I'll put a link down to them in the description, so you guys can check them out if you need parts for your mowers. They sell a lot of replacement parts for this engine. Of course, not just, you know, this engine, all kinds of other engines that have been put into various pieces of equipment. But this one in particular, even for its age, there's a lot of good stuff still available. Yeah, I've got a new, I went onto eBay and picked out used the part numbers that I got from them and picked out all the parts. This filter and pre-screen you can get for about $8. There's a seller that sells a ton of them, and I went ahead and added that to my cart. Also, Jack's Small Engine sells this piece too. If you're missing it, they sell it. So I'm going to set that aside. That filter is moldy and crusty and all kinds of nasty, so it will need to be replaced. Yeah, we're gonna take this thing off and send it off to. We're gonna brake clean it. I better get gloves on because there's still bugs and critters and things that are coming off of this thing. Most of them have evacuated since I've been running it and driving it around. Last night I changed the oil on it after we ran it in the video, and oh man. I put fresh oil in, and after running it for a little bit, I went and drained it again, and it was gross. It was pretty bad. Let's go ahead. Well, we got a mismatched screw here, and probably a 5/16 right there. So no, this has been kind of fun to work on, especially because I can bring it in the garage and shut the door, and you can put a heater on or a fan on. I got all my lights in here. We're good to go. It's quiet. Except I do have the door open so I can have some airflow, which I might bring my box fan out here and put the fan on. Somebody's been into this mower, obviously, before me, doing stuff to it. Yeah, so we're gonna try and unfudge some of those things. I would really like to get another screw like this, a matching one. Look how dirty this thing freaking is. Oh, here we go. Let's check this out. I didn't realize this, but this goes like that, and then this wire actually clicks into right there. Somebody had heat rib all over this thing, like all over the spark plug wires and stuff, and I was just like, what the hell is going on here? Now I'm going to be ordering a carb kit for this. We'll put fresh gaskets on it. I one day plan to get a ultrasonic cleaner, so I could take things just like this and put it in the ultrasonic. So there's one gasket. Managed to not destroy it. That's pretty nice. Nowadays it would just freaking shred. That's the throttle. Oh, there's a little stop there on the throttle. I want to get in here and actually clean all the schmoo off of the throttle linkage. This is the choke. Hey, look at that! This has been welded back together. Okay, interesting. Never know what you're gonna find in my way. We can always bend that back over. Oh, this also has a, I didn't realize this also has a socket, so it's probably an 11mm. Just a little bit of crust on there, but nothing to write home about. Alright, can we take it off here? Okay, So I didn't have to unhook this one linkage, but okay, got the carburetor, and I want to dump out any gas in here. I wonder if I can get a new, someone's had this plate apart and everything. I wonder if I can get a new one. I would be all for buying a new carburetor, but my problem with that is these carburetors are over $200, and I don't exactly want to get a knockoff one for it. I'd rather rebuild it. This is almost like the one on my generator. Let's see, will this come off? I'm going to get a set of nut drivers. I think that's going to be the next tool upgrades. For stuff like this, can't exactly use my impact on this because it's sensitive. And also we've got, oh, I don't know, gasoline and sparks. There's a spring on my thing, another gasket. This is just the pump body. We'll clean this off with a rag and probably just clean it with soapy water or something. Gasket, which I was able to not rip. This is also the diaphragm for the pump. You got a little ring here for the spring so it doesn't chafe on the gasket. We're gonna get all that in a kit. So far it looks pretty clean. Somebody at least in the fuel pump housing, it's pretty clean. Now there's another little spring here. We don't want to lose that. Anything else in here that's sensitive to 240-pound gorillas? I'm gonna get a picture of looks like the jet. I'm gonna get a picture of it before we take it out, because then I can kind of get an idea of where it needs to be and I'll adjust it later. Like 20 turns out of that. It looks dirty. But it's not mangled, so that's good. As soon as that gets mangled, that fuel mixture will never be the same. Alright. This? No. What size? Okay. So these are Torx, or 5/16 also works. Okay. It looks like we should be able to now pop this off. Mess up the needle and see it, and then you won't know where it's supposed to be at. I'm also being cautious that there's not like some kind of jet that's going straight across it. Some of these carbs have that. I'm not seeing it. Uh-oh. Yeah, float level looks good. Tore the gasket all out, but oh well. This is pretty clean in here. What do you guys think? Should I adjust it or leave it alone? I would say based on a lot of the videos I've seen, it looks pretty good. I made a little tub here and filled it up with gasoline. I've been using it to clean the schmoo off of this and rinse it out. And then when I'm done, I'll just run it through a coffee filter and dump it in the Explorer and let it burn it. Alright, tubes, check it out. We got a clean carburetor. Now we just need a rebuild kit and we can put her back together. The float did not take on any fuel, so it's in pretty good shape. It's almost, might as well just be brand new. So this one's good to go. We have our carburetor spacer. Interesting little feature to note. You've got these little veins here, but if you actually look at it, it's tapered. The whole piece is actually tapered, so it actually goes on one way. Well, it can be like this, but you can't do it this way. I think what it does, it's tapered so it pulls air and fuel in, and it gets tighter and tighter at the end, and it creates a little more pressure. So, kind of a neat little piece. This one I noticed has a crack right here, but it only carries on the outside. The actual area where we need to be sealed up is not affected, so I'm not going to bother replacing it. The jet looks pretty good. I don't think we'll need to clean it. I don't want to get in there with anything like a piece of wire. You might scrape it and affect the mixture. So that, I'm gonna roll with that. Looks good. Our plug is all cleaned up. The O-ring is in really good shape, but if it comes with the kit, I'm putting it in. This is the fuel pump body. It is in pretty good shape, all cleaned up. I blew it out. This is the pump body cover. I might go over it with some kind of abrasive clean, make it look good, clean it up. We have our top part of our carburetor. A little ugly here, but it's going to be hidden. Can't see it, but as far as being clean, I'm happy with that. Carburetor main body. A little bit of dirt here and there, but yeah. It's all dried up now. I can get the rest of it out. But we're all clean in there. I think it's good to go. And then I got our other bits here. I kept all the gaskets. I was able to keep them mostly intact for reference purposes when I get the kit. All the screws here are clean. I'll go ahead and put these in here. Alright, tubes, we're going to change gears here, go from carburetor work to mower deck investigation, and then another one right here. I may even bend this down a little bit so when it hits it'll still stop it. Not too worried about it, but yeah, let's pull these pins and one there. We got a washer here. Or we're just going to do that. That's like spring loaded and shit. Okay. What if we just push the mower back now? There! She's free. Wow, okay. So this is a blown out spot. It's still pretty solid for the most part. I just grind it all down and then put a patch over it. Came out without a fight. Also came out without a fight. Surprisingly, also came out without a fight. Alright, let's vacuum this off. too bad. It's still bad, but it's not too bad. Oh. Oh, God, how lucky. Here, what I'll do is I'll grab the whole deck and just thread that in most of the way. She might be on there for life. You know, the big key is to get it, break the torque on it. Well, I'm sorry. The key is to get the wrench on there as tight as possible. And then, as long as it's on there properly, clear the rust as much as you can. When it's on there, you can really put some torque onto it. Oh. Looks like we do need a blade adapter. Guess I'm just buying spindles and blade adapters. Alright. Let's see if we can knock a pulley out. I got a carburetor kit, I got a new air filter with a pre-filter. And that's on the way. The new spindles, I got the new blade adapters. Got a carb kit. What else did I order? I was able to get a new foot pad for the clutch and brake, and then I ordered 2 new Briggs and Stratton spark plugs. And let's see what else. I think that was it for now. I think that would be a good start. Oh, how lucky. Okay. Gonna save this hardware. Get this off of here. Awesome. Cool. Alrighty. So I was under here doing some inspecting, and look at that belt. She's chooched. Yeah, honestly surprised that this belt still moves this thing. Check this out. Tensioner is right there, and its pivot point is actually frozen, so I'm going to spray it with some stuff here in a second, and I'll go up top and maybe try and torque it a little bit and get it to break free. And then when we go to put the new belt in, it'll make things a little more straightforward. And that's the only other problem I saw. The other thing is, you've got these little, see that little tab there? It's covered in shmoo. There's 3 of them. They kind of guide the belt a little bit there. I'm gonna try and take this pulley off. It's got a doohickey there. My problem is I could never get this pulley off of this thing, and so What I did when I had my tractors, I took those tabs, I bent them just enough where the belt couldn't come off on its own, but could come off if you yanked on it and pulled and turned the motor at the same time. So I am going to try and do that, and then once I do that, then I can get this belt out of here and we can figure out what size we need. Yeah. So you can see the tabs. I bent them back with a flathead screwdriver. They're pretty easy to bend. And then you grab the belt and kind of lightly pull down on it. Start spinning the engine by hand. And once it comes off, you can keep spinning it and it'll flop right off there. It's a 14. Just take that off all the way. Oh, it is a nut and bolt, okay. There, I'm free there. More of that. We need to fish it around the fan back there, so it's best to take the battery out and get in there and do that. But I have a very, very thin battery tray, and I don't want to mess with it, so I'll try and fish this out some other way. Alright, got the old belt out. I got it out without cutting it, but I cut it here to see if it was the same length as the mower deck belt. And it is. Apparently, if you have a 42-inch mower deck, it usually works out to where your belt is 42 inches in length. So we're going to measure that up, make sure that's correct. I think it might be. And I think this is also a 42-inch belt because it's just about the same length as that. Maybe a ½ inch longer. I think it's also because it's stretched out and pretty clapped out. Yeah, the big difference with this is a skinnier belt. This one's a lot heftier for running the blades. So probably, I don't know if I'll do it tonight. I'll do it later. It's not. I'm not like it's gonna go anywhere. I'm waiting on the carb kit. But we know what size belt we need. Yeah. So drive belt and deck belt will get replaced. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'm probably gonna continue this video later on when I get we get spindles and blade parts and carb stuff. We'll have another round of that. So I think we'll continue this later. It is a few days later, and some stuff I ordered from eBay came in, and I already went ahead and did the rebuild on the carburetor. You saw earlier we cleaned this all up. It was pretty gross. Put it back together and use the kit that I ordered. There were a few things in here that I could not use. This jet right here, or fuel mixture screw, it would not thread in. I think it may be a little too big. However, the one for this was still good. I just cleaned it up really good. It wasn't crusty or anything, so I just put that back in. All the other brass screws, I think those are for the high-speed mixture, but I don't have that adjustability. I did not put the new seat body in. Just left it alone. But I did put the new seat or new needle in. So it's got a fresh rubber tip on there, and should be good to go. I did not have to adjust the float; it was still flat. And then got the fuel pump back together and all that stuff. It did come with this foam thing. It's supposed to have a little piece of foam on here. I think it mostly just kind of keeps this from moving around, or seals it up. Not too sure. This one here, it's missing one at the bottom, but I didn't get an extra one, so I'm not sure if it needs that. Throttle is not flopping around, so I think it's got a decent seal. We'll find out. A new carb, one of these is new, is over $200. So yeah. So this stuff all cleaned up, ready to get reinstalled. Got a few other things that showed up yesterday. Got a brand new air filter and pre-cleaner. This was this together was $7. Yeah, I'll show you the old one. You guys are gonna love this. So this one, I don't know how old this one is, but boy, I tell you what, it stinks. So it ran on that. All right, let's throw some spark plugs in this thing, shall we? I looked at my Briggs & Stratton book, and it said to gap them at 30 thousandths, if that sounds right. So we just find our nifty spark plug gapper. 30 thousandths. Close enough? Yeah? Let me see what they look like. Was that a cylinder? Is that cylinder 2? These are old auto lights, 308 auto lights. Like WD-40. I had sprayed some in here just to get them lubricated since this thing hasn't ran in a while. There's your new sparky plug. I've noticed that this thing does leak a little bit of oil around the well, I can see oil leaking around the breather covers. So I may actually get a whole gasket kit for this, and we'll probably get it off the mower and we'll do a whole gasket job on it. It's got a fresh gasket, so it's actually sealing up nice. Okay, brand new spark plugs. $20 thousandths. Yeah, they were at 20. Well, humans are set to.
Another day's here.
What do you need?
I forgot.
I told you to put motor oil in that.
I forgot.
No, you put that 1030 in there. Okay, new spark plugs. It's got good compression. I wonder if we were leaking before.
About $4 over my motor. Right. Damn.
Oh, come on. That's rust prevention.
Your mom's rust prevention.
Take your pick.
The small guy. I'm just like, okay, feel good.
Yeah. I told you should have put oil in it. Hey, you're telling me to do stuff, I'm telling you to do stuff, and
Damn it.
we're both in denial. The denial river.
It's like blink, oil light. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot again. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're going to be putting a diesel in it. Sometimes I really hate these eBay carb kits. It's like, we'll come with one of these, and then you have to reuse another one. You're like, god damn it. It's cool, practically a brand new carburetor. I can't believe they want $200 for this.
Really do.
Everywhere I've looked, it's like $200. eBay, $200. I'm like, good God, I'm rebuilding it. Okay, we got both gaskets. One gasket, luckily, still good. Send it. Okay. Kind of hard for you guys to see, but when we took this apart earlier, there's this little spring here, and I don't know how it's set up, and the book is not really telling me how it's supposed to go. It showed it like right here, like hooked in here, but I'm starting to think that this probably wants to sit like this, so when you run it, put the choke on, it's open full throttle right now, and then once it starts going, the governator will sort of take over from here. Two flats on the throttle plate on there. So this is moving freely. And there's a bunch of crap down here. So I'm thinking I'd pull this whole motor out and do a little rebuild on it. Or at least regasket it. It doesn't really need to be rebuilt, I don't think. But yeah, this spring, when I took it apart, it looked like this. This isn't, to me, this isn't going to do anything. Pretty sure it was like this or something like that. It was in some stupid... It doesn't fit right. Maybe it was like that or something. I don't know. It's a part throttle. Well, let's see what happens. Maybe put it that way. There we go. We're going to put it on. So that's fully opened. So I'm going to lock it down with it in the fully open position. And then when I hold on the choke, it goes to the closed position. When I push on it, it goes to the fully opened position. So we're good there. Let's hook up our fuel line here. That goes here. Oh, you know what? Let's cut that off. This, I was thinking of cutting the very end off of it. Putting a new clamp on. Should be good. Nice. Okay. Tink. Tink. little vent hole thing there. Just realized. Probably important. And I already tightened down the thingamajigs. There's a little plug on the side here. I need to make sure I tighten up. Good. We want to make our fuel adjustments with that bad boy on there. Nice. Brand new filter. Okay. Huh, nice. That'll keep water and moisture from getting down in there. I just got a belt from up the street. Yeah. MTD 7540441. Go try and put that on. Well, it's probably starting to rain, but luckily this project I can work on in the garage. Checking my battery. I've been sitting for a few days. We're still at almost 13 volts. Nice. Alright. Want to see if she'll fire up? Give her half throttle. This is always like a scoop, like we got nothing. Oh. I know it's giving me problems. Well, the safety switches are working, that's for sure. choke when she started. Alright, tubes. I think I know what the problem is. So we got a rebuilt carburetor. It's got a good float. It doesn't sink. It's got a new needle with a new tip. The seat was clean. But she's surging. She's not happy. And if you notice on the last set of plugs that we had in here, there was a lot of carbon buildup on it. And when we tested for spark, we had it right up here on the metal here, and it was pretty meh, to say the least. And then the spark plugs are got really small. So what I'm starting to think is we probably have weak spark. In fact, I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit. We'll take a spark plug out. Quite possible it needs a coil on it. And man, I had to open up the back door, other door here to let this air out. My eyes were starting to burn. She's running so rich. It may take another couple pieces of wire or even jumper cables, and we'll jump it to a piece of metal here and try and crank it, and we'll see what kind of spark we get. If it's really crappy, then I think we just need a new coil. That might be the problem. Otherwise, that carburetor in there is sparkly clean. Like, I thoroughly cleaned it, got all the passages. They're clear. The jet is clear. It didn't matter where I put the idle mixture, but then again, I can't get it to idle, so that's not going to do anything at the moment. So yeah, I think she's not happy with the spark there. I think that's going to be our problem. Let's go ahead and, you know what, let's take one out right now. Oh, dude, tubes. I think we got weak spark. I feel like that should be a stronger spark. What do you guys think? Where's that new spark plug at? Let's try the new spark plug. Let's try that. I bet you got weak spark. This should be a really good ground right there, so that I got barely any spark. Ground this one out. Let's see what we look like. That one's got a pretty decent spark, much better than the other side. I'm gonna get on the old eBay there and order up a coil for it. So I think that's gonna do. So yeah, guess we're just gonna have to wait for another video. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that plug back in. We know the plugs are good. We've got spark on that side. It's probably the only reason why it's running. And then on this side you barely have any spark, and it's also got more schmoo on it. So that's why she's running rich. So she needs a new coil. So I guess in the next video, what you can expect to see is we're going to throw a new coil in it. I've got new spindles for the mower deck on order. And then what I'd like to try and do is get this front clip fixed up a little bit. And that's all mangled up. I'm thinking about just bending it all back, and then we'll clamp it down with fender washers. On a later time I'll probably either borrow a friend's welder or get a new one of my own. We'll weld that metal up and make a new mount for it. Maybe we'll reinforce it. So I think that's our problem for now. There's not much of adjustment on the carburetor as far as mixture goes. I can only adjust the idle mixture. There are some carbs you can put a high idle mixture or high speed mixture screw in there, which is something I'd like to do. I'd like to be able to tune this up a little bit more than I can now. But for right now, I think that's gonna be a wrap. We'll catch you in the next video. And oh yeah, this is bad. All the rubber here deteriorated, so I need a new cap. And then there's a chunk of it down in the tank. Isn't that great? This ammeter, I am getting rid of that. I found a digital ammeter gauge to put in there. So that's something I'm going to put in there. But what I want to install, so I know what my battery voltage is when I turn the key on. I'm going to put that right there. Can't find my paddle bit for this, but we're going to put it right there, and that way when you turn the key on, it'll tell you voltage. And I know it's stupid, but I want to throw some gauges on this, just more battery wise. That way when you turn the key on, you're like, oh, okay, the battery's not completely roasted. And then all this headlight stuff, I'm gonna actually tear this out, and I'm going to wire in a separate thing for running lights. I'd like to put some LEDs in here if all possible. I haven't really gotten into this. I think they're just regular bulbs, but if I can find LEDs for it, that'd be freaking sweet. And then I'm going to put turn signals and stuff on this thing, because I may take it on the main road if I ever you know, went to mow their yards or something that are down the street. I can just drive this instead. So okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.